or reckless conduct by the athlete. The last time he fought was against Kell Brook up in Manchester. Simon and I were there, so were a whole load of other people. Big fight fans, big turnout that night for that one. But it's fair to say Kell Brook destroyed Amir Khan that night. Amir Khan has been speaking in the last few minutes. Let's hear what he said.
I've never cheated. I'm a retired fighter, and at the same time, you can see by my performance. My performance against Kell Brook wasn't the best performance I had.
Well, so in the sense that you lost the fight?
I lost the fight, and obviously if I went in there and knocked Kell Brook out, it's different. I've never cheated in my life. I'm the one who wanted the testing on the fight, and also the amount that it was. I mean, the amount that was in my system could have been by shaking people's hands, and it was.
How does a bodybuilding drug get into your system? That is the question, isn't it?
I don't know what drug was in my system.
Ostarine.
So, and at the same time,
not licensed for human consumption.
Guys, I'm really sorry. We need to prepare a statement. We'll be
I'll be in touch. I'm gonna give my views anyway. But like I said, I've never cheated in my life. I will never cheat. And like I said, I am a retired fighter, so I've got a 2-year ban now, which is quite strange and funny that they've banned me. I'm already retired anyway.
So no comeback plans then, clearly.
No comeback plans at all. But like I said, I've never cheated and I never will, and that's just not something I would do.
We wasn't in that fight from the first bell to the last, onto the last when it was stopped. So the actual effects of it didn't do him any good, but that's irrelevant. You know, we need to understand, there are other alternate uses for this particular drug, which is basically, you know, for osteoporosis. The argument could be, why would he be taking a drug for osteoporosis? How did it manifest itself in the system? Why did pre-fight tests not bring it up? But if he's failed a drug test post the fight... then you're going to say, without much pushback, I suspect, that it was in his system during the fight. Now, when it was ingested, and what benefits that have, I mean, he can't just have popped it before the fight, because it's not going to have an instantaneous effect. It isn't the helium, isn't it? It isn't laughing gas that makes you come out with a voice straight away there on afterwards. It'll have to have an ability to metabolize in the system. But the answer to your question will inevitably be, if he tested post-fight with this drug in his system, then it was in his system when he was fighting. So that then takes you into the territory of a tainted fight. And then what you've got now for Amir Khan, unless these guys and girls grow up and get into the mix of being able to deal with this properly and answer questions properly, you're now going to have his whole career up for grabs now. Because people are going to look at this and go, well, when you won the world title, were you using this stuff? When you've done things in the past? Because it's all there to be gotten. That's why it's very important that these guys deal with this
front and centre.
Yeah, absolutely, very important.
I mean, what we know, of course, regards to Conor Benn's situation, is that fight against Chris Eubank Jr. was called off. They didn't get in the ring with each other. It never came about. This did.
Absolutely.
This did, and we watched it.
Well, this is testing regimes.
And we watched the lethargic Khan lose to Brook.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, the purpose of an enhancement is not to make you lethargic and to be reluctant to come out of the dressing room. It's to make you fit for purpose and actually give you an advantage, not to do the polar opposite. But insofar as it's brought out an outcome, well, look, the process works because they've caught him and they've banned him. And of course, the process is based upon an instantaneous 4-year ban. And if you can convince the hearing and the UCADs of the world that ultimately there was a reason for ingestion, which is not based upon a Machiavellian plot to achieve something, then you'll get it reduced to 2. So they've considered that. They've reduced it from 4 to 2. So we know the process works. But we've got to understand, and no one's going to ever be able to square the circle, I suspect, as to why it takes so long. And there may be legals involved, and it may simply be that the nature of the beast is that Khan's lawyers were involved and they didn't find a light of day. But if you've got a British Boxing Board of Control, which I'm led to believe is the case, only found out this morning, and the promoters only found out this morning, you've got to ask yourself what's going on here.
Do you believe that, Simon? That the British Boxing Board of Control only found out this morning that Ben Shalom, the promoter of the fight that we attended, only found out this morning?
Well, there's going to be an audit trail for that, isn't there? So unless the British Boxing Board of Control are going to be able to say to UCAD, who are a separate body, you must do as we say, and you tell us that you didn't tell us until today, then you're looking at the fact to ask yourself the question, why did UCAD not tell the British Boxing Board of Control? Why did UCAD not tell the promoters? Because to come out and say that you haven't been told, you're going to have to be able to stand on that. Now, you can redirect like other promoters do. You can change the subject matter and make it based upon a false equivalence, and all of a sudden you've lost yourself in the conversation. But if you've got somebody saying, no, I'm not interested in all of that, when were you told, and can you prove, and can UCAD answer the question why they wouldn't have told the British Boxing Board of Control, and why they wouldn't have told the promoter of the fight, which was Ben Shalom, who was responsible for both Kell Brook and Amir Khan being in that ring? So why would they not have known? Now, they'll argue about confidentiality. well, then we have to look at the reality of what UKAD are actually achieving, what these drug agencies are achieving, because there's one thing railing against the promoters, one thing railing against the system. But if these drug agencies aren't professional enough and don't have the processes that enable it to be streamlined, effective, and come to an outcome, then what are we talking about how serious this is?
Yeah.
Because it's either serious or it's not.
Well, exactly, Simon, exactly.